It's double car day. Hi everybody, I'm Owen and these are my Lego shelves. Today I'm going to review not one but two cars. I was having a bit of a think about how to do this review of the first car, and then I realised actually there's a nice pairing between these two cars despite the fact they are very, very different. So without further ado, the two cars are the Ford Mustang with its incredibly iconic look and shape, and a big old classic American car, a big muscle car. Is it what you call a muscle car? I think so. That's what I call it. A second-hand purchase. This is a retired set now, I'm afraid. There's a light bit of yellowing on the white, which is a shame because obviously that's the kind of very clear kind of look for it. Not a huge problem, except because I could replace the white, except the blue stripe down the middle of one of the white bricks means that as soon as you start taking out pieces and putting in a bright white one, that's going to look lovely set, really nice set. And I was thinking that it's a shame for me that it is so like the Shelby Cobra. The colouring, the white stripe with the blue down the middle of it, so much is just the same car again. I mean, obviously they're very different looking cars in terms of shape, and the Shelby is far superior based on how far we've come with Lego. The angles on that, aided by a few new pieces, are really lovely. And this would be, and I remember this coming out and thinking, oh, I really like that. And it would be pride of place if it wasn't for the fact that that one is so beautiful. That one is an incredible set. But it did make me reflect why that these size models are really good. I really like this scale of build in terms of how long it takes, because it's a big evening build. Even if you brick quite quickly, it's a pretty big evening build. But the technique and stuff in these are always interesting. The DeLorean is one of my faves as well. I think that all of these kind of cars of this scale are really nice. Even compared to X01 or the Batmobile, the Grand Batmobile, the 1989 Batmobile, the big one, they're just slightly too big as builds because it spans over, which is fine. Sometimes you want a big build, but these are very digestible, like in an evening or two or a long weekend or whatever. Nice scale of build without being excessively costly, of course, with being one of our problems for that. So really nice. The other thing that I would say that takes this up a notch as well is it comes with a whole host of extra bits and bobs if you want to beef up your car and do your after purchase mods and things like that. So you can get a nice one of those on the back like that. You can get your big old engine on the front, and you come out the top of that. You can get, there are technical terms for all this, which I am afraid to say I don't know. A big ram on the front, not a ram, but a scoop. All very cool, especially if you're into your cars. Don't know whether you can quite see pipes basically that can go behind the front wheels and exhaust backwards. So very cool. Excellent build, good fun. Like I said, it's my kind of scale of build as well. It just it keeps me entertained for a while, which I really like. It's got that cost element. It would be the only thing that's going to go against a build like this, because it's not a kind of casual hobby, which made me think about the other car that I got recently. And this is very much pocket money territory. That's where Lego has to start for most of us, right, as kids, and being able to buy Lego with our pocket money. This is the Speed Champions It is the Bugatti Gran Turismo. Sorry, I've got all the spares in the piece and they're all just rattling around like that. I really rate Speed Champions. I haven't put the stickers on this one because I thought actually these are lovely pieces. The thing that I always do with Speed Champions is I always think, well, it's a nice, cheap, fun little pocket money build, like, and it's got loads of cool pieces in. And I always think to myself, I'm going to brick it out. It's going to go into the system. These are lovely pieces, but I never do because they actually build so nicely as these vehicles. The techniques involved are always interesting because you're dealing with such intricate curves and shapes and things like that you have to have quite densely packed, quite sophisticated techniques in order to get all the angles nicely. You can see from this you've got angles going back this way. So invariably, whenever you're building one of these, very like how you're building the big one, you're going to be dealing with lots of snot techniques. Stud knot on top, you're building that way, you build that bit separately, you build that and that goes on together, then the sides and then the back, and then you've got all sorts of just little clever things to make it look amazing. So I wish I could see it through and kind of end up just going like, oh, these are just spare pieces now, because invariably you get quite a lot of new pieces. There's quite a lot of these tile pieces in this one. In my mind, I always think I'll buy a few of the same ones and then I'll be able to do lots of interesting different things. And I bought one of the F1 cars. I think I ended up buying it 3 times in very slightly different versions, and I was going to make a comparison between them, but time makes fools of us all. Anyway, I would say that if I want a guaranteed enjoyable build, I think the Speed Champions are guaranteed. I think the price creeping up is annoying, because I think sub 20 quid, this is great. And if you shop around, you can almost always get Speed Champions on under 20 quid. Like Argos has got deals on at the minute. You can get buy one, get one free almost. I think it's 2 for 30 quid or something like that. But always worth looking around for prices. They're quite often in the supermarkets. They are really nice. Just, I want to build something new. Pick this up. So huge recommendation. Just on any Speed Champion, you can pretty much guarantee you're going to enjoy. Obviously, you've got things like the DeLorean in that scale now as well, which is a great build as well. So kind of 2 ends of the spectrum, really. That's great. This is great. I would say that the biggest problem with both of these is they don't actually work particularly well as display pieces on shelves, which obviously for me, mostly that's what's going on. They kind of disappear, don't they? I mean, the DeLorean, you can tell it's the DeLorean. You've got a nice grille on the front of that. And the Mustang certainly does have a lovely front profile. It's an aggressive looking car. But if that's all you see of it, that's sort of not enough. You need it to be out or playable, or I did wonder about hanging on the walls, but even then it's too sort of static. You kind of need that 3/4 angle or whatever. So my only qualm with these is that maybe they don't display as well as some of the other miniatures, and you compare it to even like the Cat, it's got quite a display presence. So but if I'm looking for a build and I've got a little bit of money to spend, Speed Champions would be my recommend. If I've got a bit more money, maybe it's a birthday or something like that, then that kind of scale of the Mustang is fantastic. So yeah, even though I'm not a huge car person, I think that they're invariably got interesting build techniques in it and really self-contained, nice builds. So yeah, a high recommend for 2 ends of the spectrum. Get out there, build some cars. And until next time, keep on building.